Okay, it's Judge Sara Smolenski. Are you Mr. Jermaine Bolton?
Yes.
Mr. Bolton, I'm at the 63rd District Court, which is at Knapp and the Beltline in Grand Rapids. This is called an arraignment. And an arraignment is the first time that you come before the court to hear what it is you're charged with, what the possible penalties are, and what your rights are. I've got 6 different felonies to talk to you about from September 14, a couple of days ago, near M37 and 13 Mile Road, Sparta Township. 2 counts of what they call assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder or by strangulation, where they allege you made an assault upon a Deputy Jacob Vickery and an Officer Mitchell Campbell with intent to do great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. Both charges are felonies, up to 10 years in prison or $5,000 fine. A DNA sample can be taken upon arrest, which is usually like a cotton swab of the inside of your mouth. That's 2 counts of assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder, both 10-year felonies. Then the 3rd charge is called discharging a firearm from a vehicle. They're alleging that you intentionally discharged a firearm from a motor vehicle in a manner as to endanger the safety of another. It's a felony, Mr. Bolton. It carries with it the possible penalty of 10 years in prison and or $10,000 fine, mandatory forfeiture of the weapon if you're convicted of the charge. The 4th count is called carrying a concealed weapon. They're alleging you carried a dangerous weapon, to wit a pistol, concealed on or about your person. That's a felony they call CCW. It's 5 years in prison or $2,500 fine. And if you're convicted, it requires a mandatory forfeiture of the weapon. The 5th count is called fleeing and eluding 3rd degree, where they're alleging you were a driver of a motor vehicle to whom was given a visual or audible signal by hand, voice, emergency light, or siren by a Deputy Jacob Vickery, a police officer in uniform and in a official officer's vehicle identified as an official police vehicle, acting in the lawful performance of his duty, directing the defendant to bring his vehicle to a stop. They're alleging you did willfully fail to obey that direction by increasing the speed of the motor vehicle or attempting to flee or elude the officer, and the violation resulted in a collision or an accident. It's a felony, Mr. Bolton. 5 years in prison and or $1,000 fine, and the Secretary of State shall suspend your driver's license for 1 year if you're convicted of that offense. The 6th felony count is called carrying or having in your possession a firearm, a pistol, at the time he committed or attempted to commit a felony. So they call it felony firearm. They're talking about the felony of assault with intent to commit murder. It's a felony, 2 years in prison, consecutive with and preceding any term of imprisonment imposed for any of the felony or attempted felony convictions. It also requires mandatory forfeiture of the weapon if you're convicted of the charge. So there's 6 different charges, Mr. Bolton, 3 10-year felonies, 2 5-year felonies, and 1 2-year felony. You have the right to remain silent. You don't need to say anything to anyone. If you do speak out, anything you say orally or in writing can be used against you in court. You do have the right to have a lawyer present during any questioning that you consent to, and you must have a lawyer on this. They won't let you go forward without legal representation. If you cannot afford to hire your own lawyer, the court would appoint a lawyer to represent you on these 6 felonies. Then you'd have to pay the expense of a court-appointed attorney. You have 2 appointments set up with us. We're the 63rd District Court, September 30th and October 7th. September 30th is a Wednesday, 2 weeks from today, 8:30 in the morning. You'd talk with your attorney and you'd discuss things with the prosecutor, and you'd make a decision whether you want to hold your preliminary exam. The preliminary exam is currently held 3 weeks out from today, October 7, Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. The preliminary exam is where the judge gets more involved, and testimony is taken in front of the judge to make a determination: was there a crime or crimes? Is there probable cause to believe you committed the offenses? The district court doesn't have the trial. We have the preliminary exam to determine whether the case moves on to circuit court. All felonies are dealt with at the circuit court, but they start at district court. Now, so far, Mr. Bolton, do you have any questions?
No.
Are you currently held in Muskegon?
Yeah. I did all that shit.
No, they're not. They're just saying you want to talk with your attorney and discuss it. Today, we just say not guilty, not guilty, not guilty on all of it.
Bro, I ain't do that, bro. I ain't guilty.
Yeah, you just want to say not guilty, no doubt. We just say not guilty for you as the case moves on. They're just charges that they're making against you. They have to prove it. They have to prove all the charges, all the elements beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, what are you in custody for in Muskegon right now? Why are you in custody? Deputy, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry. What is Mr. Bolton being held for in Muskegon? Does he have current cases in Muskegon?
Homicide.
A homicide case current?
Correct.
Okay, so
That's
you'll
how he came to
definitely
be in
have an
your
attorney. I'm sorry?
That's
Yep.
how he came to be in your custody, was fleeing us.
Okay, do you know if there is a bond on the homicide case right now? Has he been
We do
arraigned
not.
on that?
No.
Okay, so he will be. Well, Mr.
Correct.
Bolton, if you're charged with homicide, you're gonna have a much bigger bond than I'm dealing with right now. They'll keep you in Muskegon County because of the other business that you've got, but you'll have to have an attorney on that because obviously that's the highest charge you can get. Right now, on this current case, I wanted to ask you that Lake Shore Drive in Muskegon, is that your address? Are you living there?
Yeah.
Who did you live there with?
No. I live at, damn, where I live at again?
It's 2020 right now.
2151 Barclay.
215 Barclay?
Yeah.
Are you 20 years old?
My birthday on the 23rd.
So it's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever finish high school?
I've been trying,
But you're not finished
I'm
with high school?
always distracted. Yeah, I don't got that
Okay.
much left. I only got like a couple of classes. Like
Okay.
3.
Right now, on our cases, on this case, it's a $100,000 cash surety bond. $100,000 cash surety bond. It requires either you to post the money or hire a bonding company. But don't look into the bond in this until you find out what your bond is on your other charge in Muskegon. Because that's a bigger charge than these are. And the bond's going to be significant. There's no doubt about it. Right now, don't have any contact with any of the witnesses. If you do bond out, they'll make you report to court services. No criminal activity. We'll say not guilty on all charges. Did you get fingerprinted since you've been at the Muskegon County Jail, Mr. Bolton?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the two dates that we have are the dates I told you, September 30 and October 7. Any
And I
other
was supposed to
questions?
start- I was supposed to start work on Monday.
Yeah, that's not going to work right now. Yeah, that won't be happening. Talk with your attorney, Mr. Bolton. That's who you need to talk to. Okay, deputies, we're all set. Thanks so much. Thanks for hooking up with us at Grand Rapids, Muskegon.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You can disconnect.